Hey, Ben Spangle here, high performance coach, founder of Next Level You. And today I'm going to be sharing with you how I get back on track after losing some focus or after being on vacation. One of my dreams early in my life was to be able to travel all the time and travel the world and go on amazing vacations. And we've been very fortunate to be able to do so. And I just got back at the time of this recording. I literally just got back. My wife and I got back from a 7-day cruise. All in all, we ended up being gone about 9 or 10 days. And so it was a long time away. We had the most amazing cruise. It was a cruise from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, down to first stop was an island on the Bahamas. And then we went to the Dominican, Puerto Plata area. And then we ended up on Grand Turk and Turks and Caicos. It was an incredible cruise. It was through our insurance business company trip with a whole bunch of friends. We had the best time, and it was so much fun. With that came lots of great, amazing, world-class meals that are probably a little more rich foods than I typically eat, to having, great times with food and drink. And my wife and I love to dance and go to the disco at night. So we did that. So it was a week that I didn't get as much sleep as I intended to. It was a week that I fell off a lot of my normal day-to-day routines and rituals as I normally would. And it was just, 9 or 10 days, a little bit more than a week, 9 or 10 days of being out of my habits. And there was an older version of me that when this would occur, sometimes it would take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get back to where I wanted to be, dialing in my disciplines. So I want to share with you today what I am doing in my life to help me get back on track mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I suppose you could use this even if you just fell off track in these areas. It may or may not have been a vacation. In this case, it was a great vacation. Yeah, and man, it was so much fun. I have to share with you when we went to Turks and Caicos, us and some friends, John and Katia, we went and rented a golf cart and got to travel the whole island here, this Grand Turk Island. And it was the most amazing thing. There was filled with wild donkeys everywhere you went. I remember going and we went to the end of the island where they had this big lighthouse and you can oversee, part of the end of the island there, which was cool. The water is just stunning in Turks and Caicos, the most turquoise water you've ever seen. And on there was a baby donkey, and a baby donkey, it was my first time seeing one, was the fluffiest thing I think I've ever seen in my life. So cute. Anyways, we had the time of our lives this whole week, so much fun on the cruise ship. They had tons of activities. They had brought together the most amazing Irish band, and they played virtually every single night. And just incredible, world-class musicians. I mean, it was the time of our lives. It was probably the most fun vacation I think I've ever had. And like I was saying, it was not me dialed into my normal routines and success rituals that I might be, which is not a bad thing. So the first thing I'm going to say with this is that when this occurs in your life, there used to be, again, an older version of me, there used to be a version that would feel guilty about getting off track. And then feeling the guilt never helped me get back on. So the first thing is drop that. If you're going to go and have a fun week away, a fun weekend away, go do that. Don't bring the guilt with it. Just go enjoy the weekend and let's get back focused. So we might say, well, just jump into your regular stuff. And you could do that. You could I'm going to jump back into my regular stuff. What I want to share with you, though, is what am I doing that's maybe a little different than normal to help reset myself physically, to help reset myself mentally, and to help reset myself spiritually, because I want to be tuned into my best self so that I can deliver for my clients, for my team, for my coaching clients, you name it. I want to be able to deliver for all of that. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. And as much fun as we had, the late nights, all of it, and didn't get the normal sleep that I get. And then we had a red eye on the way there, which I will not be doing again. Our plane on the way home was not a red eye, not going to be a red eye anyways, but it ended up being delayed by 6 hours. So it ended up being a red eye. So it was just, it was a time that the body's a little bit worn out. It didn't have the normal sleep that it has, didn't have the normal fuel that I give it in the way that I do. So what am I doing to do it? I'm going to start with mentally first. What can we do when we've fallen off course and perhaps we're not where we want to be mentally and getting back on? The first thing I'm going to share with you is something that has worked for me for 15 years now. And pretty much anytime this occurs, I'm going to take some time to go and do what I'm about to share with you. And I believe that by doing this one thing that I'm sharing with you, you will be setting yourself up for success so much quicker than if you're just waiting for something to change in the way that you feel. So for me, what I love to do is, even if I'd done it a month, 2 months, 3 months previously, does not matter. When I've lost focus and gone off course a bit, one of the most important things I'm going to do to get back on track is take some time to physically write out my business plan and goals for what am I looking at. My goals might be over the next, 9, 12 months. My plans probably more over the next 90 days. So what is it that I'm doing in that? So I'm writing that stuff out. So for me, what did that look like? Well, I'll tell you exactly what it looked like. We had this amazing time away. On the way home in the airport, I had a nice nap in the airport lounge there. We got on the plane. I was a little bit well rested anyways at that point. And I spent some time with my journal, this book right here, actually. And I just spent time on that flight, I don't know, probably an hour, writing several pages of things. So I'm working on my plan. Well, how could I get better? What am I going to implement? This kind of stuff. And so I just kept writing and writing and writing, and came up with phenomenal ideas, which, by the way, this video that you're watching right now, or this audio you're listening to right now, came from that session. So great ideas flow when we take time to write and think about where we want to be, what we want to do, how we want to be making changes in our lives. So that's step one. That's my first mental component. The second mental component is I love going back to a book that I know has made an impact immensely in my life. And so that's exactly what I did. As soon as I got home, which was yesterday, I pulled out one of my favorite books, Dollars Flow Easily to Me. I started rereading it. I was reading it yesterday. I was reading some this morning, and already I'm feeling boom, tuned in, dialed in. That's a mental component. Physical, everybody's probably got different things that they do to feel their best physically. One of the things I wanted to do, and am currently in the middle of right now, how far are we in here? I guess we would be 34 hours. So I am currently 34 hours into a 72-hour fast. Now, normally, I think the longest fast I'd maybe ever done was probably about 30 hours, 28, somewhere around there. But I wanted to do something to really reset my body physically. And the numerous health benefits that occur in the body have been so well documented from fasting. Fasting is life changing. It is a phenomenal thing. So some people do intermittent fasting where they'll do, maybe like a 16-hour fast, 18-hour eating window, 18-hour fast, 16-hour, 8-hour eating window, 18-hour one or a 6-hour eating window. I'm not going to go into all that right now. I remember I interviewed a lady, Mindy, who is, if not one of the greatest experts in the world on fasting. You can check her out. But I wanted to do a 72-hour one. I want to do a total reset. I wanted my body to allow itself to flush itself of any of the toxins, to flush itself of that stuff, to help the cells regenerate, all the benefits that come along with it, to activate ketosis, all the things that occur in fasting, autophagy, where the cells begin to regenerate and recycle themselves. I wanted that. So that's one thing that I decided to do physically, was I was going to jump into an extended fast and allow my body to give it the reset. And if you've never fasted before, certainly you could do an 18-hour. That's easy to do. But even trying a 24-hour, if you've never tried, would be a good idea to help reset the body. The other thing that I love to do physically, which I do in my life today, 5 times a week anyways, but I made sure that when I got home, this was something I was doing pretty much immediately. And what that is for me was, it was a dream of mine forever. I remember one of the very first vision boards I ever made. I had a cutout from a brochure where I had first learned of infrared saunas. And this was probably 2008 when I had first learned of them. And it was before they were quite popular, but I had heard about them. And I remember cutting it out. I put it on my vision board and looked at it for years and kind of forgot about it. And then in 2020 was when I had bought a really high quality infrared sauna. And it was one of the best investments that I've ever made in my health. Now, you may not have a sauna right now, but there's lots of gyms that have saunas. There's lots of spas that have them. So you don't say I couldn't get one. I mean, you could get access to one if you wanted. Anyways, the benefits of that have been amazing. So I made sure to do that. And the second thing that I love is cold plunges. And so I happen to have a great setup that I've set up with myself now, where I have a physical cold pool and a cooling unit. You may not have that, but you could easily do cold showers as well. So those are the three main things physically. And then I guess the last component of physical, which ties into mental as well, is I just made sure to go to bed earlier than normal, get a great night's sleep. I'm going to do the same thing again. So that's dialing in my mental, dialing in my physical to put me back into the energy that I want to be in, to be back with the focus. And then spiritually, what do I do to get myself aligned spiritually, maybe when I haven't been following my regular practices? Well, I'll tell you exactly what I did. First and foremost, the most important thing for me was to do a deep meditation. Typically, I'll meditate for about 20 to 30 minutes a day would be my usual average go-to. What I wanted to do was, again, have a deeper reset, a deeper connection. So I did about a 60-minute one where I love guided meditations. Sometimes I'll meditate with no audios. I love guided ones too. Today was a guided one and a deep meditation, connecting with that universal energy, connecting with spirit, connecting with that source, and allowing myself to go beyond my mind and go into the energy of the infinite. And so I love that practice too, because it really centers me and dials me in. And then the last piece, energetically, spiritually, that I want to talk to you about is tuning into the energy of what I want. So for me, what I love most in my life is freedom, and value it, abundance, love, and freedom. So I'm finding the energy of that and practicing that. And I know by practicing this that I'm beginning to draw the right things into my life in an effortless way without having to go and force them and grind them. And so these are the things I'm doing. So I'm sharing with you today, what am I doing to get myself back on track? And I have to tell you, after 10 days of being away, not a lot of sleep, lots of fun, lots of parties, lots of everything, lots of big meals. Today, I'm feeling amazing and I'm ready to go back in action. So I hope that there's something that helped you today. Maybe drop me in the comments, share with you what's one of these ideas that you want to implement, or share with me in the comments what's one thing that you do to help yourself get back on track. And by the way, if you have not yet downloaded it, you can click the link. I've got my subconscious reprogramming checklist where I talk about the day-to-day habits that I would be using if you want to reprogram your mind, rewire your mind for faster success, for greater wealth, for greater health. So you can download that in the link below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. So great being with you. And listen, if you've fallen off track, no big deal. Just get back on track.